Vignette number 40 from Zen Is Right Here, Teaching Stories and Anecdotes of Shunryu Suzuki. My friend and I were summer guests at Tassajara. I was initiating him into the rigors of the hot baths, putting on the act of a drill instructor. The only other person in the water was a small man whose feet almost didn't touch bottom. He joined in our routine until we were all laughing. Later, we entered the stream, which was full of hungry, inch-long fish. Every few seconds, one of them would take a nibble. Later that evening, there was a lecture by the abbot, Suzuki Roshi, whom I recognized as the little man from the baths. In his talk, he said that Zen students should be like feeding fish in their practice, nothing more, and he made his mouth and hand move like the mouths of the small fish. That's from Kent B. Davis. It was at Tassajara in 1969. I think it's funny he said, a man who was so small his feet almost didn't touch bottom. That's an interesting thing to say. I would imagine his feet would touch the bottom and he would be so small he could hardly get his mouth and nose above water. But maybe some people float. Actually, that reminds me, in Edgar Allan Poe's Murders at the Rue Morgue, I think that's the one where he starts off talking about a body in a river. I think, where's the Rue Morgue? Yeah, well, they're in France somewhere, wherever the Rue Morgue is. And he talks about how some bodies float and some sink. So there you go. You see there, Suzuki getting material for a lecture from something that happened during the day. Yeah, he'd do that sometimes. Bob Watkins tells a story like that. What was it? Here it is. In Bob Watkins' interview, which I think was 1993 in Taos, New Mexico. But it could have been a later one. I did various interviews with him. Anyway, he says, we were working on that wall down. He'd been talking about how he and Suzuki, this is before the first practice period, very early in 67. Some of the first work that was done there was on the bridge going across the creek there by the dining room and shoring up the wall. And Suzuki was really into that, and he was working with Bob on that. And they're down there working, and it says, we were working on that wall, and a couple of guys were talking about something, and we were down underneath the bridge. And just as they crossed the bridge, one of them said, don't make any waves, don't make any waves. And Suzuki Roshi said, what does that mean? And I said, don't make more of it than it is. Don't excite the situation, let it be. And he went, oh. And he went on working, went on ahead working. And that evening, he used it in a lecture. And I'm sure I could start making a list of things like that. Oh, yeah, Jim Morton tells about, he said, yeah, I told Suzuki of course, he would have said, I told Suzuki Roshi in Dokusan that Zazen is like standing on your head. it's easy to do, but it's not easy to keep doing it. And he said Suzuki used that evening in lecture. Unattributed, just barefaced plagiarism. This has been a Cuke Audio mini podcast. I'm DC Poobah of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, coming to you from Sleepy Sanur with Dogette Bandita, Feline Cuchita, and dear lovely Katrinka. And that bird calling from somewhere outside the window high in a tree. Wishing you and yours and all of us a grand awakening.